Bonjour and welcome to France. We're at Lac de Premier, just 2 hours from Calais, just west of Reims, and I'm 24 hours into a 5-night session. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it the next 24 hours in this swim. I fished this swim last November and had 37 fish to 51 pound myself, so I know the swim very well. I feel quite confident, but we have got this wind hacking into our faces, so whether they're off the back of it or not, I'm not sure. If we don't catch tonight or tomorrow morning, then I think I need to come up with another plan. But as it stands, I've got 4 nights ahead of me. I'm in France, I'm carp fishing, I ain't working. Can't be bad. There we go, this is the biggest of a 4 fish catch last night, 35 pound on the button. Exactly what we drive 150 miles from Calais to Lac de Premier for. Caught on the cell, tipped with a little good pop up. We've got 3 nights to go. Absolutely pucker. Well, we're just entering the 3rd evening of our trip. And over the last sort of 24 hours, I've noticed a load of fish just down in the snags, down to my left. Now, even though they're on the end of a strong and very cold northeasterly wind, you've got to fish where they are. There's a massive tree to my left, so I can't go down to where they are actually holding up. They've boshed out about 5 minutes ago. They boshed out this morning as well, and there's some chunks down there. Definitely fished to something like mid 40 pound. It's very difficult in these sort of conditions. You don't see mid 40s swimming around very often in the water, but they look like piggers with fins. So yeah, what I have noticed over the last 18 hours is there's quite a strong right to left undertow. So to a degree, I'm going to treat it like a river. I've got some cell boilie. I've got a little bit of response pellet in here as well, and all I'm doing is I'm crushing it up into fine powder. And over the last sort of 24 hours, I've been trickling bait in just off the edge of this tree. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this up into a right sloppy mix, and hopefully that sort of right to left undertow, when I dump it in, will draw the fish out. They are definitely there. I've probably got to draw them 20 yards, so it's quite a way. We've got a couple of nights left. If it works, then I've found something that works, and hopefully I've got 2 nights of action. If it doesn't work, then hey, it's not for the want of trying. So 1 more pouch load, I'll mix it up, and then I'll slop it in. Well, it's not a monster for French standards, not a monster for Lac de Premier standards, but they all count. Oh, get in there. Oh, got a bit bigger than I thought, and that is the first one I've had down this margin. And my little slop concoction works. Come on. Bitterly cold wind, like holding a bar of ice. But 25 pound 6 sees me into the 3rd night with 5 fish under my belt now. 35 was the biggest of the 4 that I had this morning, and this one absolutely made up. They don't all have to be 30, 40, 50 or even 60 pound to be brilliant over here in France. That was fantastic fun, and I'm going to sleep well tonight. Well, I hope I don't, but you know what I mean. Well, good morning. If I look rough, that's because I feel rough. Cold night again last night. There's cat ice in the margins. Certainly not spring conditions, but they seem to be on it. Put 3 kilo of bait out last night, really give it to them, sort of committed a little bit after the action that I had the morning before. It seemed to have worked, so I've just been for a wander around the lake, see what everyone else has caught, and well, square root of nothing is the answer to that, but well, I'm going to get a cup of coffee, warm my hands up, warm my face up, because I can't feel my toes either, and have a little look-see at these carps. We have half the swim stuck to the net. That weighs about 10 kilos. Oh, spring fishing, don't you love it? 26.12 of Lac de Premier mussel. Caught this earlier on this morning, -3 it was this morning. Put up a real good scrap as well, got to be honest. Caught it 80 yards, 85 yards. You know what, with the conditions that we're putting up with at the moment, I know I keep on at them, but these are far from perfect to be able to catch beauties like this. We've got another one ready to go. Wonderful. One of my favourite parts of fishing is releasing the fish in good a condition as what you caught them. And this one is absolutely perfect. Winter colours, 26-12, which is going back for someone else to catch her later on in the year. Hopefully they ain't got to put up with this cold weather. So, thank you very much, darling. Yeah. Fishing size 6 wide gapes, which in truth, you get about 40 of them in there. That is ridiculous. The bigger half of the brace, I said it was bigger, only by 4 ounces or so, 6 ounces I think actually. 27.2, like peas in the pod. Absolutely wonderful. Hopefully, 2 nights to go. It's got to be a chunk on the cards. Beautiful. I'm well made up with this. Midday on any venue, pretty much, give or take, there are exceptions obviously, especially in France, is the time when you want to be getting the gear out. The fish generally go off the feed. We've been getting our bites generally around dusk and dawn, to be honest with you. So the next few hours I'm going to take the rods out of the swim. I'm going to go for a wander, have a little play around, have a bit of a chill out, because 5 days is a long time to have the rods in the water, and especially when there's a few anglers around the lake at the moment. You know, they haven't seen a lot of pressure over winter, but they're fish, you know, and they always shy away from line. So I'm going to give them a couple of kilos now, come back in about 3 hours time, something like that, 3 or 4 o'clock, maybe 4 hours time, and put another kilo out over the top. I usually use a single hand method of putting the baits out, but I've got a bad left elbow and a bad right elbow, and so I started on the double hand, and I've got to be honest, they go straighter and further, so I'm a convert. We had a little bit of carpy rain come in about an hour ago, and I'm just playing on the iPad and we've got our first fish from open water in the daytime. Well, I say daytime, it's 7:20, so we've got a good few hours to go before that bait's gone, and hopefully a few more fish. First things first, rest the fish while I get a bit of bait back out. I've got 3 rigs already tied up in the bivvy, ready to go. I think the key to it is literally, we put 4 kilos out earlier on, and from now on in, every fish, I'm just going to put sort of 20 or 30 baits. I would put more, but in truth, my arms and my shoulders are killing me. So 20 or 30 baits after every fish, and hopefully you'll keep coming all day long. I just got this fish out, and it's been caught a few times before, still in great nick, malefish. It's got a protruding pelvic fin muscle there, and massive fins as well. That's why it fought so hard. I thought it was a whacker, but it's got a tiny little bit of mouth damage just on his scissors, so get on the old carp care. I take this chub and barbel fishing, tench and bream fishing with me. There's absolutely no excuse not to look after these fish. We want them to be around and as healthy as possible for as long as possible for other people to catch them. When this baby grows 40 pound, I want to come back and get him. So all you do, give it a little bit of a squeeze, massage it in a little bit, and that will just help infection and help it heal that much quicker. Well, there we go, 27-14 of massively hard fighting Lac de Premier mirror. Remember what I said about the carp care kit, where it's on the mouth or on the body, and as small as it looks, we've got to take care of these fish. They want to be around for 20-30 years, and we want many generations to enjoy them, and every single fish that you catch could potentially be 40 or 50 pounds. So you know, whether it's 10 pound or 20 pound or 30 pound or even bigger, they all deserve your respect. So look after them, get on the carp care kit. This one is going back fighting fit. Well, good morning. It's been a pretty good night. The conditions still weren't ideal, but I had one just before it got dark, one just into dark, a 20 pound. The first one was 27.2, and this one. So we'll get her out, have a little look-see, and then maybe after that we'll talk through a few rigs. And there you go, the first common of the trip, 25.12. Still looks bigger than that to me, but it's nice to get the first common underway. It's weird, last November when I came out I had 37 fish, and I reckon 15 or 16 of them were decent commons. Can't be far off a chunk now, can't be far off, but what a beaut. Don't have to be 30 pounds to be awesome when you come out to France. That is an absolute stunner. Well, we're going into the 5th and final night, and as you can hear by the wind, conditions ain't getting any better. Although it's supposed to be a mild 2 degrees tonight, so I might even have the sleeping bag open and the door open. I've been a little bit of a girl, to be honest with you. This is freezing cold for the first week in April. Let me talk you through the rig. I've got 2 rigs out in open water at 80 yards, which have done the majority of my fish. I've had 10 fish now. 8 of them have come from open water, 2 down the edge. But all of my action pretty much has been either last knock-ins or after dark. So the rigs that are out in open water and the one that I'm going to swing down the edge now are exactly the same. I've got 15 inches of dark matter tubing. Since this stuff's been on the market, I haven't touched lead core. It's so heavy and so limp, it's absolutely awesome. Tiny little bit of dark matter putty on the end just to sink it, but you don't really need that. It really is massively heavy. Towel rubber just pinched onto the hybrid lead clip. Fantastic piece of kit as well, especially when you're round snags. But in truth, I'm fishing at good 2 rod lengths off of the big tree that you can see over my left hand shoulder. And so I don't really need to dump lead. This is literally just because the first fish that I hooked in this swim down the edge on the left hand side, it went quite close to a load of brambles, and I just don't want that situation to arise. The actual hook link is about 8 inches of end trap, 20 pound. End trap soft, that is, and it's not stripped at all except for the hair. So the hair is the only supple part of braid. To be honest with you, I've found since I've used this for the last probably 18 months, 2 years, drop fish are I wouldn't say a rarity, but you know, I can't remember the last one that I lost. I fish it down the edge, I fish it out in open water, and it just is very, very simple. I'm not the sort of riggy person that's going to sit down for 20 minutes after dark if I have to tie a new one and get the kettle sorted. I need something very, very simple because most of my fishing throughout different species is done on a short notice basis. I've been feeding half baits down the edge, and so because of that I've got half a cell boilie, and I've got a pineapple glugged, gooed pop up on top just to sit it up nicely. The hook will sit flat, that's a size 6 wide gape, strong as an ox, and that's it. Last cast of the night. Hopefully got 3 rods out, 3 fish in the net tonight. Would be absolutely fantastic. We've got to be off the venue by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so we haven't really got much of the sort of first light, if you like. We've got to be packing up nice and early, but that's it. If this is the last time I see you, it's been a fantastic trip. I've had 10 fish so far, hopefully a few more tonight, but if so, I'll see you in the morning with a few in the sack.